but I've since discovered there's a lot more to them than just keeping our shoelaces together. There's a strong connection between mathematics and these twisted shapes. Even more than that, the connection may lead to a greater understanding of how we reproduce. I'll unravel the link between knots, mathematics and reproduction later. But first, Tracy is getting very animated.
Three little pigs went to a wood, shonky-hitchy-cuckoo. They kind of like the neighborhood, shonky-hitchy-cuckoo.
Animation. It's perhaps our most delightful and enchanting visual art form.
There were no rooms to rent.
It allows the filmmaker and storyteller great creative freedom. It brings to life whole new worlds in which characters and circumstance are limited only by the imagination of writers and artists.
But just
Overriding our notion of reality is easy, but making the visual result credible is both time-consuming and expensive. However, those constraints on the animator's zest for fantasy are disappearing. And then he said, that's just the way it has to be. And she said, absolutely no way. Really? Even though I live in a fantasy world, I still have to move like a human to be accepted in your world. That's right. And traditionally, that's been achieved by sketching at least a dozen individual drawings for every second of a character's life. But now, anything she can do, I can do too. True. Come on in. Computer technology can breathe life into a toon by transposing human motion directly onto the character. You're looking at the birth of a completely new phase in animation. In essence, at least, animation has been possible since 1833, when Belgian physicist Joseph Plateau established the principle of persistence of vision. That is, if several objects are exposed to the eye in quick succession, the brain links the images together to give the effect of a continuous stream of motion. Tragically, Plateau's experiments eventually sent him blind. But Walt Disney Studios nurtured and developed animation into a fine craft. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first feature-length cartoon, used a technique known as rotoscoping to humanize its characters. The movie was first shot on film using human actors. Each frame was then enlarged and the postures of the actors traced onto cells. Like this, a 90-minute movie requires 2.5 million drawings, a feat that would take a single artist 3 years to complete. The Swedish-designed computer animator called Genimator also uses human actors, but that's where the similarity with rotoscoping ends. Rather than providing a model for manual drawing work, an actor gives his or her movement to the character. Each character begins life as a simple skeleton, sketched from different angles, up to 750 drawings representing a full 360-degree view. The character is then divided into segments so that each body part can move independently of the others. Finally, it's colour-coded using a kind of painting-by-numbers system. The image is stored on disk, and there it waits for its breath of life. Just as on a movie set, actor and director work closely to create motion which not only moves the character into, around and out of a scene, but which also suits the personality of the character they're creating. The actor's moves, or in this case it's a dancer's, are registered by cameras to create the raw scene. Each of these spots and the dancer's stripes are the sources of position and motion data that will animate the character. The electronic shutter of the video camera has been set at 1,000th of a second to severely underexpose the image. But the camera has an infrared flash which is reflected off the markers, making them appear extremely bright in relation to the rest of the image. Bright enough to register fluttered eyelashes, raised eyebrows, or a tilt of the head, as spots on a blackened screen.
2, 1, action.
An image processor scans the video picture, calculating the centre of each bright spot and producing corresponding dots on the computer screen. This real-time processing reduces the data stream to about 90 bytes per frame, an extremely light processing load for simulated human motion. Computer algorithms sort and track the actor's position, creating a stick figure that resembles a child's picture of form and motion. When the scene satisfies the director, the stream of data picks up and moves the character frame by frame, mimicking the actor's performance and generating a sequence in the computer.
And if I make this editable, I can, for instance, grab the hand here.
Unlike traditional animation, where any changes have to be redrawn, recoloured and reshot, Genimator can manipulate a character in 3 dimensions, moving its model through space and time. The same motion data can be mapped onto a whole bunch of different characters. Last of all, the backgrounds are added.
Our goal was to develop a way of taking the drudgery out of animation mainly. So that's what we've done.
Still, it takes the talents of a professional animator with a knowledge of body expression and a vision for the dynamics that create a personality to give a character its essential identity. But doing away with the laborious pen work will leave artists free to create new faces to join the ranks of enchanting and endearing stars of the animated silver screen.
Later in the show, Ian looks at mining the moon, but not for minerals, they're looking for oxygen. And next, Brian with a new diagnostic tool.